Timmy Joe reviews anything.
Reviewing computer parts on YouTube.
That's
Woo! You gotta be pumped on that, right, Will? Computer parts! Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Prepare for trouble! Make it Vega! Hi there, my name's Timmy Joe. I make videos about computers on the internet, and this right here is one of the cheapest Vega 64s in North America, and it's all mine thanks to an eBay deal. I kind of slapped myself with the thing that, ouch. Anyways, yes, cheapest Vega. I don't know, it's probably clickbait. You could probably find a cheaper one if you were really savvy, but I got one on a pretty good deal, and these are actually going for a pretty good deal, even new right now, which is pretty awesome. So we have Vega 64 here. You know, was supposed to be this amazing savior, much like Navi is, and then we end up getting Vega 7, which we all know isn't going to be any sort of savior. But this thing was supposed to be a big deal, and then it launched and it was overpriced, hard to get. Mining happened and it just ruined the prices of them, and it just kind of ruined these. And I think people are kind of forgetting about how half decent they are these days, especially if you're looking to go for some higher resolution gaming, and you want to go above like an RX 580 performance, because these will do 4K, and we're going to get to that. Okay, I ran some benchmarks, and if you don't care about 60 frames a second, it's actually pretty half decent. If you're not playing competitively in a game online where you really need those frame rates, and you're looking for more of a cinematic adventure, this thing can do 4K at high settings, and it's not so bad. So we're going to talk about that. So I picked this up for $445 Canadian. That is $333 American. That is a really good deal on its own, but what makes mine extra special is the light on here doesn't work for some reason, because the guy had the cooler apart and broke something. I'll try and fix it. I'm sure it's not a big deal, but it came with an EK water block for it. So that tells me this wasn't a mining card. This was a card where a guy wanted to play some video games, and he didn't even take all the moisture out of the freaking block. But he was using it, and he said he upgraded, and, you know, if you wanted a good deal on it, but it wasn't even a lone deal. There were some for $450 Canadian on eBay at the time when I purchased this. They've since gone up a bit, but American, you can get them for like $350, for the Max Air Boost version. And then even if you wanted to go new, there are some Vega 64s out there for a real half decent price, around $400 new. And there are even some Red Devil like AIB partner versions of this for around the $350 but the Vegas 56 version, I'm sorry, but still half decent video card, getting, I'd say, you know, GTX 1070 Ti-ish performance or better, depending on if you go with the 56, or if you're savvy, you can mod them, you can put biases on them, you can make things happen, and you can make these things high performers just the way they come as this, not so much with the blower cooler, but I have that issue solved, which we will definitely be dealing with in another video. I mean, I just put a big 360mm rad out a window and tried to freeze up a CPU. What stopped me from doing it with Vega 64? I think that'll be an amazing video that you should look forward to. So, in a time where we're supposed to be relying on NVIDIA to give us all these nice new cards, and they keep raising the goddamn prices and making them just unattainable as far as I'm concerned. Like, I was thinking about what I should do for a video, and I was looking at the prices of RTX cards, and it's like, everyone's done reviews on them. No one seems interested in them. Why would I go out of my way to spend my hard-earned cash on the, you know, a GTX or an RTX 2070, because that's all I'm going to be able to afford, and no one's going to care that I've got it? Or let's scour eBay, and oh my god, Vega 64s are a good price right now, and they're equal performance to a 2070 ish. You know, that's just a bang up deal, a way better video idea in my opinion. So I hacked it up. I picked it up. It was not a bad deal at all. And I've made sure it works, and it's actually a real good deal. So, you know, I'm incredibly happy about it. I've actually got some more low priced hardware that I'm surprised the prices are at with an X99 platform and a 6-core Intel. But yeah, if you wanted to get into anything, you know, high end right now, it's hard to find 1070s or 1070 Ti's for any sort of good price because the stock on them's going down, even though I'm pretty sure there was a news report that there was like a whole bunch of GP 101 or whatever the part number is, 100,000 extra GPUs made and NVIDIA needed to get rid of. I don't know if they're just thinking mining's going to go back up at some point and they should hoard onto those. I don't know why they're not selling them out right now. Well, I do. They just put all this R&D into RTX and it's really not panning out for them. So why would they give their gamer friends any sort of deals on lower end GTX cards these days? It'll just cannibalize their RTX sales, which they're doing anyways by doing what they're doing. So I digress. If you're looking for a high-end video card right now, this is a good option, and I want you to look out for them. You can find them on eBay right now for very, very good prices. Let's say around $350 as kind of a baseline. They go for more trending on eBay, but I found examples of them going all the way down to $350. So, yeah, and then there's a Vegas to 56 if you want to buy new, if you only like new AIB partner cards for around that same price. So it's not a bad deal at all. So what's with the gaming in 2019 with this? Well, I picked 5 of the newest games I could think of to test on this at 4K, thinking they will be worst case scenarios, and we'll go over them a little bit right now. So, Resident Evil 2 remaster or whatever, re-release. You can actually get a demo of it that lets you play 30 minutes of it right now. It's a DirectX 12 title. It's something that you can get into. It's something you can go and really check out, and it's going to be a fun time. You can get that right now and load this up on here at DirectX 12, and it actually says at one point, watch out, you might need more than 12 gigabytes of VRAM. You're like, holy geez, that's on max settings at 4K. But I let it go anyways, and it was running at a decent 45 frames a second. Totally playable. Looked beautiful. A little HDR action on my BenQ monitor. Not that it's that great or whatever, but allows you to see a little bit of things in the dark a little bit better. It's a really dark game, so it's just something to think about. But it did it really well, and you can always drop that down to 1440p and get your 60 frames a second, and you're not going to lose that much resolution, and get a little bit higher fidelity out of it. But I was perfectly happy to play this at 4K on high settings. In Resident Evil. That's a game that isn't even out yet, and it can handle it, no problem. Moving on to a game that has been out for a little while, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider performed admirably on this, and I would easily have played the whole game at 45 to 60 frames a second on high at 4K with this card. Not a bad deal at all. Not even an AMD sponsored title, and it did very, very well. So that's something to look out for. That's something cool. And then, so you could play a very, very high-end, a very good-looking game at 4K, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know why my computer keeps ramping up. Mic problems. What are you gonna do? Sorry if you're like, Timmy Joe, I can hear your computer ramping up. Anyways, so yeah, Vega 64 did admirably in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. A not so new, or a pretty new title actually, but a not so hard one to run apparently. Forza Horizon 4 looks absolutely freaking stunning at high settings at 4K with this card. Like, it just looks super, super good. Explosions of fireworks were happening. There were dirt guys on dirt bikes flying around all around me, and it seemed to perform around 60 frames a second at 4K. Absolutely wonderful with this card. I would love to play that. I'm going to buy it. That was the demo, but I'm going to buy that game. It looks super, super good. And apparently car games just aren't that hard to run on hardware like this. Then a game from last year, an AMD sponsored title, but one that certainly shouldn't be discounted. Far Cry 5, beautiful game. It can be kind of resource intensive. If you want to crank the settings and play that game with this card at 4K, you're going to get a cinematic 45 to 60 frames a second. I say that because everyone loves 60 frames a second way too much, but it's completely doable in Far Cry. And you know what? There's another game. Like I'm struggling to find games that this won't run at 4K. And you know what? You could be a snob about the 60 frames a second or more, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So, final game I tested, Battlefield 5, my first endeavor into Battlefield 5, and 45 frames a second on Ultra. at 4K with this card. So you're going to want to maybe play Battlefield Online, and that might not be the best idea. You might want to put it down to 1440p, but you're not going to lose much resolution, in my opinion, unless you have a big enough TV or a monitor or whatever, or you're a real snob about your quality. But you could bring it down for competitive, or if you want a little bit better resolution, bring her up to 4K and play with this, and you'll have to suffer with 45 frames a second or more. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. So it turns out this is actually a half-decent option for budget 4K right now. It's actually pretty good. So you might say, online games, sure, there are some, high-end games right now that you'll want to play online, that you'll want the edge, and you'll want to push way more than 60 frames a second. Where this, like I say, you can just bump her down to 1440p in those games, and you'll probably be, in that 80 range and be fine with it. But if you wanted to, play some esports titles at 4K with this will push Counter-Strike, Fortnite, League of Legends. It'll probably even do like Rainbow Six Siege and stuff like that at 4K, and maybe have to bring her down to medium to really get all the frame rates you want. But this will play all those esports titles at 4K, no problem at all. So this is starting to look like a real budget awesome opportunity at $350. Or $333 is what I got it for. I don't know where you're going to play. Now, there is a Vega 7 coming out. I don't think it's going to be any sort of savior or anything like that, but you could wait around for that, or you could wait around for Navi, which I really think is going to be closer to holidays. If they brought out Vega 7 right now, it probably means that it's easy to shrink the node down to 7 nanometers and get a little bit more performance, where Navi isn't anywhere near ready for mainstream, and it'll probably be announced at Computex and not available until several months after that. So in the meantime, for $350, this is a pretty good deal. You can't go wrong. I really don't think so. And as far as any NVIDIA counterparts, you would have to look pretty hard to find a 1070 Ti for $350 these days. I really do think, even used, it's going to be kind of a hard bargain. But if you want to go that NVIDIA route, go right on ahead. I'm just so tired of the prices on NVIDIA. I'm really having a hard time recommending them. So I'm at Watch Timmy Joe on Instagram and Twitter. This is just a pretty good deal to be had. And you could look forward to some other good deals that I've come across. Apparently X99 is dipping down in price pretty good. And I got a 6-core X99 processor and motherboard for less than an 8700K would run ya. So that's pretty cool. Runs DDR4 memory, so you're on a later platform. There are, has some of the newer features and options. The BIOS on my Gigabyte motherboard looks very modern, so there's that to look forward to. So look forward to, that. And I didn't even mention, I ran all those benchmarks on the Threadripper behind me, running at 4.1 gigahertz. So there is even better frame rates to be had if you paired this with an Intel, like an 8700K or maybe even a 7700K. You could get 10 frames in some games even better than I showed. So this is actually a pretty good deal. It's funny to pair it with an Intel CPU, but whatever. And then I do urge you to hit the subscribe button if you want to see me put an EK water block on that Vega, then put the rad out the window at sub-super temperatures. It's supposed to get cold down to -20 again at some point this week, so I think I'll be hooking this thing up on the Vega and really, really push her. But as for me, I'm done with blabbing at the camera. I'm really happy about my purchase on my Vega 64. Look forward to some upcoming content. I really do thank you very much for all your troubles and your watching me, and I will see you guys in another video. Oh yeah, I have a Patreon too, I should mention that. That helps me buy new hardware, so if you can spare a couple bucks on Patreon, I only ask for $1 or $2. I'm trying to get it above more than $300. It's been sitting around there. As well as, you have any cool hardware you want to see me overclock out a window in Canadian winter, me at timmyjoe.com. Yeah, there's that. So I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you very much. Team Rocket, blast off the game!